Welcome to Cricut 201. I'm Carly Hall, and in this class, we are going to go over the basics of layering with both adhesive vinyl and heat transfer vinyl. Not sure what layering is? Let's jump right in and chat about today's project. Layering is the process of cutting multiple pieces of an image using different colors and then combining them together to create one final project like this. Each of these colors were cut out one by one and then applied onto the final project base using a technique called layering. Layering can be done with both adhesive vinyl and heat transfer vinyl, but the process will look a little bit different for both. Don't worry, I'm going to walk you through everything you need to know during this class. Let's start with adhesive vinyl. Adhesive vinyl is a plastic that has a sticky glue on the back. You can use this to create vinyl decals that can be applied to cars, water bottles, paper, plastic, really anything. We are going to apply it to this faux leather notebook. If you're struggling to decide between adhesive vinyl and heat transfer vinyl, ask yourself, can this item be ironed without melting? If the answer is no, your best bet would be to use adhesive vinyl. Since this notebook most likely would melt, I'm going to use adhesive vinyl. There are several brands of vinyl sold at Michael's, and any of these will work for this project. I chose one with a removable adhesive in case I want to change it up in the future. If you're looking for something a little bit more permanent, choose a permanent adhesive. In addition to vinyl, here's what else we'll need for this project. Scissors, a weeding tool, scraper, some parchment paper, and masking tape. And of course your Cricut machine with a cutting mat. Using a mobile device, tablet, or computer, open Cricut Design Space. I'll be using my laptop, but the process will be very similar on any device. Open a blank canvas and choose the design you want to cut. Good layering images have multiple colors like this one. The colors you see on the canvas represent the colors of the materials you plan to use. If you love an image but don't like the colors, you can adjust the color within Design Space. Click on the image and ungroup it. Select the color you want to change and then choose the color swatch here. You can change it to any color you want. If you can't find the color that you're looking for, you have advanced options right down here. Since we're cutting the image out of colored vinyl, the color doesn't need to be exact. Once you're happy with your colors, we can resize the image to fit our project base. For this notebook, I'm going to resize my design to be 4 inches wide. Select the entire image and group it back together. To resize, you can pull this handle here, or you can navigate to the toolbar and enter the dimensions right up here. Once you enter the width, the height will scale proportionately as long as this padlock here is locked. Now we're ready to send it to the machine to cut. Click Make It in the upper right-hand corner. Cricut will automatically sort all of the colors to different mats, which makes cutting this project super quick and easy. Click Continue and connect to your Cricut machine. Choose the material you're cutting. If you haven't cut this material before, I recommend doing a small test cut to ensure you are using the correct cut settings. Since I'm using premium vinyl, I will set my machine to premium vinyl. If you're using a Cricut Explorer 2, turn your dial to custom. Then choose Browse All Materials and search for Premium, and then select Premium Vinyl. Starting with the top color, we're going to cut out our image color by color. With adhesive vinyl, you're going to load the vinyl onto the mat with the colored side facing you and the liner side on the mat. All adhesive vinyl has a liner that looks something like this. This is helpful when trying to determine if you have adhesive vinyl or heat transfer vinyl. Place the liner on the mat in the upper left-hand corner. Double check that your fine point blade is installed, and then you're going to load your mat into your machine. Make sure to hold the mat up against the rollers, and then click this flashing load button. Once the C button begins to flash, click that and the machine will begin to cut. Once the cut is done, unload your machine and peel the vinyl off your mat like this. Flip the mat over and roll it back so the material stays nice and flat. Then we're going to load the next color and repeat the process until everything is cut. Now that all of my colors are cut, let's weed our vinyl. Using a weeding tool, I'm going to peel away the parts of the image that I don't want. I like to pull up my image in Design Space so I can use that as a reference while I'm weeding. Hook the edge of your material and peel it away. For this one with lettering, peel away the outside and then using your weeding tool, peel away the insides of your letters. Now we have all 3 pieces weeded and ready to layer. we're going to use this transfer tape here to put the image together. Trim a piece of transfer tape large enough to cover your image. Apply the transfer tape to one of your top layers like this. You can reuse this transfer tape for each of these layers. Burnish the top of the image. And before you dive in and apply it to the background color, I'm going to show you a fun technique that I like to use. Let's start by taping down our bottom layer so that doesn't wiggle around. Grab a piece of parchment paper. Parchment paper is infused with silicone so the vinyl won't stick to it. Cover most of your bottom image with that parchment paper, leaving about 1/2 inch uncovered. Now grab the layer you're going to apply to the top and peel off the liner. I like to flip my decal over and remove the liner like this. So now we have our image on the transfer tape. The parchment paper will help us line up the image, so if I mess up like this, I can just reposition it. See how it's even around these edges? I can just reposition until it's straight. Without parchment paper, I really only have one shot to get it perfectly lined up. Once you're happy with the placement, flip your transfer tape to the side and remove the parchment paper. Then slowly press down the image. Burnish your image and peel away the transfer tape. Repeat this process for the next layer. You can use this process to line up as many layers as you want. Stick the transfer tape on, burnish it on, peel away the liner, and then use the parchment paper to line it up. After you finish layering your image, we need to transfer it to our project base. If your transfer tape doesn't cover your entire image, peel that off so we can apply one that covers the entire image. Since ours covers it completely, we're good to go. Remove the masking tape and trim down the transfer tape so that it doesn't extend past the edges of the liner. This will make it easier to position and apply it to our notebook. Now we're ready to apply this to the project blank we're using. Make sure your project is free of any debris. Before you remove the liner, I'm going to show you the hinge method. Place your image with the liner on your project and tape it into place. This will act like our hinge. Peel back the transfer tape on either side and trim away the liner. Then slowly press the design down into place. Now it's held in place with this transfer tape. Peel off the masking tape and then peel off the liner on the other side. Slowly press the design onto the notebook and burnish it in place with your scraper. Starting at one corner, peel away the transfer tape at a 45-degree angle. How easy was that? If your vinyl doesn't feel completely adhered, don't worry. Vinyl needs 24 to 48 hours to cure to the project. Let your project sit for at least 24 hours before exposing it to any elements. Now that you've mastered adhesive vinyl, let's tackle heat transfer vinyl. I want to clarify that heat transfer vinyl, or HTV for short, is the same thing as iron-on. Us crafters use that term HTV and iron-on interchangeably. Heat transfer vinyl is a vinyl that has an adhesive on the back that requires heat to activate the glue. For this project, here's what we need: your project blank, heat transfer vinyl, a weeding tool, and an EasyPress, heat press, or iron with an EasyPress mat. And of course your Cricut machine with your machine cutting mat. I'm going to use the same project in Design Space with a few changes. I adjusted the size and a few colors to change it up. From the canvas, click Make It. On the mat preview screen, we are going to mirror all of our mats. This wasn't super intuitive the first time I did an iron-on project, but I promise you it will become muscle memory. Cricut will also remind us to mirror our image when we set our material. Click Continue and connect to your machine. I'm using Everyday Iron-On, so I'm going to click Browse All Materials and choose Everyday Iron-On. See this reminder here? I love that Cricut gives this extra notification. Just like before, we're going to cut each color one at a time. Let's load our heat transfer vinyl onto the mat. Unlike adhesive vinyl, you won't see that white paper liner. HTV has a clear, non-gridded liner that's built in. This shiny side is actually the liner. The other side, this dull side, sometimes it's white, is the adhesive side. With that side facing you, place the shiny side down on your mat. Then load the mat into the machine and click the flashing seat. Once your cut is done, unload the mat and repeat this process for each color. Now that all of our colors are cut, we're ready to weed. Very similar to the adhesive vinyl process, we're going to remove the excess HTV around our design. Your image will be mirrored, so it may be helpful to flip it over and check to see what you've removed. Once you're done weeding all of the pieces, it's time to apply them. Follow the manufacturer's instructions for the iron-on you're using. Since I'm using Cricut iron-on and an EasyPress, I'm going to refer to the heat guide. I'm going to set my EasyPress to medium heat like it recommends. The heat guide will give me all of the instructions, so let's get started. As a reminder, you can use an EasyPress of any size, a heat press, or an iron to apply this design. Just make sure to consult the manufacturer's settings. I'm going to heat my EasyPress Mini to medium heat and prep my project blank. Place the blank on your EasyPress mat, and when your EasyPress is hot, preheat the base. With the EasyPress Mini, you'll want to use constant movement to cover the entire surface. After you preheat it, apply the bottom layer of your design. Since the liner is repositionable, you can lift and move the design until you're happy with the placement. Once you're happy, begin heating up the design. The guide recommends 25 seconds total, but since we're layering, we're just going to tack the first layer in place for a few seconds. 5 to 10 seconds should do the trick. While it's still warm, peel away the liner and then place the next image on top. Notice this area here, there's no liner covering that image. I like to use the liner from my first transfer and cover up my design so the entire image is protected from the EasyPress plate. Then go over the new design for 5 to 10 seconds. Once again, peel away the liner while it's still warm. Then place the final layer and cover the full image if your original liner doesn't cover it. For this final press, go over the entire image for the recommended time. Then flip over the project and do the back for 15 seconds. Peel away the liner and enjoy your project. With any iron-on project, let your project cure for at least 24 hours before washing them. I hope you learned something new during this class. I love sharing my favorite layering tips and tricks with you and can't wait to see what you create. Happy crafting!